politically incorrect, Bill Maher.
Thank you very much. Let us meet our panel. He is one half of the recording sensation, Evan and Jaron. Their eponymous CD is out now, and they'll be performing at the El Rey on June 27th. Evan Lowenstein, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Good stuff.
Thank you very much. You looking good?
Yeah. Oh, I love music.
Let's stand or sit or what?
Sit. She's a conservative columnist and the editor of the Independent Women's Forum magazine, Women's Quarterly, Charlotte Hayes. Charlotte. Thank you for being here again. Appreciate it. A bona fide Charlie's Angel. She's a groovy star of that 70s show, Tuesdays at 8 on another network. Tanya Roberts. Hi, gorgeous. How are you? And he is the Emmy-nominated veteran of Saturday Night Live and one of the funniest guys in the world, Kevin Nealon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Thank you, sir. Good to see you. All right. Kevin, I'm glad you're here because you're a comedian. And so am I, and so is Jerry Lewis, and he's a friend of mine, and he's in trouble. He gets in trouble often with the very people he helps. And I just want to, I've never done it. I'm going to defend my friend Jerry Lewis.
Where are you reading that out of, first of all, Bill?
Well, it's, yeah, this is the Globe, but okay.
Okay. Sorry.
But it's, I just have it for the quote, for Jerry's quote.
Good.
And but it's the same quote in any paper. And as you know, Jerry has this love-hate relationship going with the Muscular Dystrophy Association. They love him for the, I think, $1.7 billion he's raised for them over 35 years of crusading for a cure. Right. But they seem to hate him because occasionally, to raise that kind of money, he has to point out that the people he's helping have a crippling affliction. This apparently is politically incorrect to point this out, that we're giving charity to people who apparently need charity. And what he said is, if it's pity, we'll get some money. If you don't want to be pitied because you're a cripple, stay in your house.
But it's how he said it. I mean, come on. I mean, he didn't have to put that kind of a spin on it. That's what they objected to. Not the fact that they're physically challenged, but the fact that he used that derogatory term that's really antiquated.
He is the last person in the world who should have to apologize to the muscular dystrophy people. If you say that Franklin Roosevelt was crippled, that's not offensive. It's true. And listen, he's raised money. If you can sit at home and call somebody physically challenged and not send in your check.
It's not a matter of me sitting at home. It's a matter of those people do not want to be called cripples. Those people want to be called people with a physical challenge. No, that's what's uncool. You know,
it's not just cripple, it's also pity. He used the word pity.
Yeah, and that's a dread, too, because that also makes people think that those people feel that way about themselves when they have more courage than all of us, because they're able to
age
handle
challenged.
it and go on.
He doesn't speak politically correct. He's age challenged.
Well, that's okay, but...
and he should be pitied for that.
Yeah, he should be pitied for that. It's a terrible tragedy.
Well, you know, I think, first of all, Jerry should apologize to China. Let's start off with that. Let's get that out of the way. I cannot see Jerry Lewis making that comment. I could see the Nutty Professor saying that, and when I say the Nutty Professor, I'm talking about Eddie Murphy, not the Jerry Lewis I know, Bill.
I think in a situation like that, I don't know, I think in a situation like that, you have to see, you know, where the person's coming from, and especially with all the work he's done, I definitely agree with you that...
Wait a second. Sorry, go ahead.
He was going to support him.
You know, here's a guy who does a lot of work for muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, thank you, and you interrupt me.
No, I did interrupt you, and I apologize.
You're talking about me, right?
We're all on the same side except Tanya.
No, but I'm not on this. I'm not on this side that he gets a pass. And that's why I interrupted.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm not on the side that he gets a pass just because he's raised $1.7 billion.
We have to see, like, you know, what was his intentions? Was he trying to offend anybody? I don't think so. I didn't hear. I didn't see the show, but you know.
Let me interrupt.
Like that are silly
This is the second time that the people from the actual people with muscular dystrophy have found what he's been doing not so cool.
So maybe he should stop raising money for him.
Well, the point is they want to be presented in another manner. That's all. They're happy.
Yeah, I want to be presented in another manner.
Well, that's okay.
When he started, things were different. Also,
When you open
back
a
then,
charity, it can be.
isn't that the way it was? When 50 years ago, he's been doing it for 50 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait a second. Wait a second. Let's just imagine.
Empty political correctness.
What exactly? What if he didn't raise money? Well, let's just say it wasn't Jerry Lewis who said this. What if someone else, say you or me, more likely me, talked about pity and used the word cripple. First of all, cripple is not a slur. You talked about China, or crippled plane. Cripple means something doesn't work as good as it should. Okay, it's not a slur. Just because something is wrong with you doesn't mean you're a wrong person. Also, what is the proper response? Why is pity a bad thing? Should we teach our people, our children, to be ruthless, to be indifferent? When I see someone in a wheelchair, I should have no pity?
No, I absolutely do not believe that people who have any kind of affliction want to be pitied at all. That's exactly what they don't want. They're out of their house. They have 8 times more courage than we do. They're out there. I'd like to see any one of us be in a wheelchair.
I have some perfectly healthy friends.
And I don't think they like the whole idea that what he was doing is giving a negative connotation to a situation.
Thank you.
Because crippled was always a word that's asked the people.
Always a word. It was
always a word that was thought of when they used to call people cripples. Now they don't anymore because it's considered.
They don't anymore.
Our culture, the English language.
But some people are crippled.
They're the ones who object to it, not us. And after all, they're the ones who said Jimmy wasn't cool. So,
I think everybody's getting too sensitive about what they're called and what they're labeled and everything like that. You know what, Jerry Lewis, you know, here's a guy who's working really hard for these people. He probably did the telethon. This is probably when he said it. It was after the telethon. He was exhausted. He was hopped up on back medicine. You know what I mean? And he didn't mean what he said. And by the way, I have a lot of friends that are not physically challenged. They're perfectly normal, healthy, neurotic comedians, and they like to be pitied. They like pity.
You know, I mean, I understand sensitivity is important. It's not more important than everything in the world, including truth. Okay? I mean, to call someone, I guess the word is differently abled. Now, that went from crippled to disabled.
And it'll be something else next week.
Wait a second. Differently abled? They're not different. It's not different. Christopher Reeve isn't differently abled. He's not just different.
But the point is, those were the people who found it objectionable. Those people, we should, being that it's their physical situation, should say, hey, if that's not the way they want to be represented, cool, and Jerry should get his act together.
Because they're in a wheelchair.
They change it again.
That's up to them, though, because they're the ones who were in that situation.
Why?
So, well, it's like, if you're white down south, you might not want to be called a cracker. I mean, what can I say? I mean,
I don't think call me a cracker.
I'm from Georgia. I have no offense to that. So.
I'm from Mississippi.
I mean, if
call
you
me a
can't
cracker.
relate to those people having a different point of view of how they should be represented.
I think the cracker should be pitied.
Yeah,
the cracker is always pitied.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate that.
You're saying, do we want to create a society where everyone gets to tell everybody else how they should be?
No, it's not that.
Right.
But these people are supposedly benefiting from him, and all they're saying is, "Hey, Jerry, welcome to the, to the new millennium, Jerry. You know, we consider ourselves physically challenged."
But they make up words.
I don't know why
make up words.
But they're also saying that I can't feel pity. It's not only a country now where you can't say what you really think. You can't even think it. I'm not allowed to have the feeling of pity. That's politically incorrect. I'm wrong to pity, but that is how I feel. And it's not an inappropriate reaction.
You could
to have pity for someone who is suffering. That is not a bad thing.
I think what they're saying is that Jerry was wrong for telling them to stay home.
Well, no, because...
It wasn't the pity thing or the cripple thing, because their homes are not very nice.
No, he was saying if you don't want to be pitied because you're a cripple, and again, these are, you're right, bald terms. He's not sugarcoating it. He's saying, when people see you and you're in a wheelchair, they're going to feel pity. And that, by the way, is how I raised $1.7 billion. So how about that hypocrisy, that we can't pity them, but we want the money? Look,
well, I don't feel pity at all. I totally disagree.
You don't feel pity?
No, I don't. I feel that they're incredibly... I feel they're incredibly tough and got tremendous balls to be out doing it.
See, I'm the compassionate person. I feel pity.
Oh,
me too.
No,
That's what I'm saying. That's what...
I think it's their heroes.
No, see, I have friends who are in wheelchairs who don't want you to feel pity for them, but that doesn't mean...
But they can't control your feelings.
I understand, exactly. That doesn't mean that you don't feel pity for them. Even maybe they don't want you to treat them in such a manner, but that doesn't mean inside you're not feeling like I feel a little bad for you.
I personally don't feel pity for them. First of all, they have the good parking spots.
Okay, well. All right, I have to take a commercial. We'll be back. President Bush spent the day in Spain. the first stop of his European trip, the president said he was committed to taking action against global warming. Luckily for the Spaniards, they have a lot of experience with bullfighting. Well, now that Tim McVeigh is dead and gone, think say that instead of being known as the site of the worst act of terrorism in U.S. history, Oklahoma City can go back to being what it once was, a really good place to get gas on the way to Tulsa. Perfect segue. I love when I give myself a segue. Let me talk a little about Tim McVeigh, and please join in, because now that he's dead and gone, we can talk about him. Before that, I was a little afraid. People were like, ooh, you know.
You mean the appeal didn't go through?
No,
Oh, they actually went ahead with it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did happen?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You don't read USA Today, do you?
No, I also read the Globe.
He reads it the
Anyway.
next day. He's behind. You'll get it.
He had nonsense, I think, about why he blew up the building. And I was saying last night on the show, we were talking about whether it was a conspiracy, that, you know, if he had just gotten laid, none of this would have happened. I know that's a Freudian approach to the whole situation, but, you know, I couldn't help. I was reading back over some of the stuff, the information about him as he was facing his death. The papers printed it, and I remember reading it the first time that right after he got out of the Army, he went back to Buffalo, and he tried to make time with this girl that he liked, and she rejected him.
I could just see that being opening arguments, you know, in the case. If he just got laid, that would be fine. I could just see that happening. Like,
you're right. It's not a legal argument. I'm just saying, like, if he could have found some happiness, if he wasn't a creepy loner, if that girl hadn't rejected him, he would have, like, settled down in Buffalo, and he would have grumbled about the government like the rest of us. We all hate the government. We just don't blow it up.
Right. But she did reject him, and this is why she should be executed as well. I'm serious. You know, I may be out of line by saying that, but we got to clean up the situation here. Let's finish it up. I'm sure the government's behind me on that.
They printed his letter. I can't relate to Tim McVeigh as a bomber, but all guys have written this exact same letter where the girl rejects you and you know you're out of it, but you kind of put on a brave face. Do you remember reading this? Hey, gorgeous, poof goes your head.
In the Globe, I guess.
No, this was
I haven't written that letter yet.
Let me finish. I know I could take a hint, but this is my address. You know, she's already rejected him. If you ever need anything, let me know. 1, someone killed, blown up. He was always a romantic. 2, a shoulder. 3, refuge. 4, fertilization from good stock when the clock starts ticking. I'll always listen. Don't hesitate to drop me a line. People may change superficially, but not underneath. Come on, we've all written that letter.
Right. I actually have, now that you finished.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, is that if this girl had, instead of rejected him, said, you know what, I like you as more than just a homicidal friend.
It was definitely the final straw, or one of the final straws.
How long ago was that letter written?
That was in 1994. He got out of the Army, and before he went west to meet new people and kill them, he went back to Buffalo, his hometown, and this girl, and this was I think she worked at a security company.
Had Waco happened at that point?
Oh, yes. 93 was Waco.
So she kept this letter.
She must have,
and
because
sold it for big money.
Letter. I think none of us have anything to say about that, Bill.
Yeah.
I speak for all of us.
It does appear that way, doesn't it?
Well, that's disturbing. If she works for a security company, she should have at least said something or turned that in or did something.
Why? What, because he said, poof goes your head?
Yeah, the poof, yeah.
And if you ever need anyone...
And the fertilization line.
You're right. There are a lot of bomber hints in that. Poof goes your head if you never need someone killed.
But it's interesting how people go off the handle when they get rejected by a woman. Isn't it?
A woman. Not a man.
Well,
not a woman getting rejected.
Yes.
Oh, you guys have a tendency to act it out with guns and knives and stuff.
That's right.
Women don't.
They're passive-aggressive.
Well...
I don't know what
we
that
get
means.
you back in spades, but it's not, you know, blowing the head off.
Right,
right.
but men have a more of a tendency to do it to others. Women would do it more to themselves.
Well, she could
mean-
do it to the husband through legal means. But I mean, a woman doesn't.
But like-
A disgruntled a woman doesn't blow away at all her coworkers at the
Right, or
post office.
exactly what I'm saying.
Not yet, exactly.
School shootings. It's always
Yes,
never a girl.
Yes.
I got a death
Boys
threat
like
letter
to
once.
act.
When I was on Saturday Night Live, a guy said, "I don't know how you became so unfunny, but your days are numbered. I'm going to put a bullet in your big fat Mick head." And for the next week, and I was a paranoid actor, I asked everybody, "Do you think I have a fat head?"
You're vain.
Did you save that letter?
Yeah.
No, I gave it to security.
Oh.
But you would think that she would take that letter and I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Probably better that way.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Join us tomorrow when our guest will be actor Alan Thicke, author and playwright Wendy Wasserstein, from Eden's Crush, Miley Missahan, and Republican strategist Randy Tate.
Glenn says that there are 300,000 children are fighting as soldiers in various countries throughout the world. The Bush administration said this is a serious human rights issue. These kids should not be fighting wars. They should be making clothes for Kmart. I kid the Bush administration.
Yeah, you do.
But, you know, I'm a big supporter. Anyway, President Bush is over there in Europe. He's encountering a lot of flack from the European allies about his environmental policies. Certainly no more than I have given him over here. And many, I know, Kevin, you're a big environmentalist.
Is that right? Well, yeah, I like to help out when I can.
Yes, you do. You do a lot for the animals. We are
Sure. As
cohorts
do you.
in that.
That's
Yes,
right.
we do. So we're trying to find ways to stop the global warming. Report just came out, said bad news. You know, it's going to kill us all.
Bill, that report said uncertain global warming. The word uncertain was there like 24 times, and the media's distorted it. So when I hear global warming, I think Y2K.
That is wrong.
I think Jerry Lewis.
I mean, I don't know where the word uncertain was, but it certainly wasn't in the ultimate finding, which was that global warming is real.
No.
It's getting...
The ultimate finding is that global warming may be real. This is not a scientific thing.
That's not what I've read or heard.
It's been distorted.
I gotta call my science teacher,
Global warming is
'cause-
uncertain.
So it's a conspiracy of everyone else in the world.
It's a conspiracy of junk science. Remember in the 70s when we were going to have
Junk
global icing over? Remember the Club of Rome report where we were running out of resources?
No.
Okay. We haven't run out.
I can tell you one thing. It's been getting a lot warmer this month than it was last month.
That's true.
And that's a fact.
Well, Kevin.
That couldn't have anything to do with summer coming on.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
I'm not a scientist.
Just a meteorologist.
Yeah.
We've gone up 1 degree in 100 years.
We've gone up 1 degree in 100 years. That's a lot. That is
but
a
there's
lot.
a giant hole in the ozone that wasn't there.
We don't know that for
Yes,
sure.
we do know that because of the pictures that they've taken since the 30s and the 40s of oh yeah, come on.
Energy crisis.
Do you know that skin cancers have gone up like 100 times?
No, I didn't know that.
If you believe what you believe so much, why don't you stand out in the sun without sunscreen on?
I do.
Well, you're going to die.
She's and you're actually right. The ozone hole is a lot smaller in the 30s and 40s because NASA had pictures from spacecraft from the 30s looking down at it, and it's a lot larger now.
Yeah, back in the 30s.
Yeah.
Listen, we don't know scientifically. I think we can do more studies. It's all based on computer models.
Wait a
No, this
second.
is a matter of faith, Bill. We don't know scientifically.
This is
uncertain, unsettled science.
I'm going to really have a lot of faith in the oil companies who are charging
I
us
do
through
have
the nose.
faith in the oil
They're the ones
companies.
who say that there's no global warming and there's no
I do have
ozone.
faith
By
in
the way,
oil
you're now
companies.
to the right of George Bush on
Yeah,
this issue. I mean,
really. I am to the right of George Bush
who
on this issue.
until 2 days ago was 10 years behind in his thinking, came up to being 5 years behind in his thinking because he used to say, we don't know, we need more study,
That's
which of
what
course
I'm
was
saying.
a crock. Now he actually said, no, global warming is real. We just don't know if it's because of humans. Because, you know, monkeys drive cars.
Yes.
So you're actually to the right of George.
I'm to the right of George Bush. But
Wow.
one thing great about Bush is he's not going to sign the Kyoto Protocol, which would destroy our economy. That's one reason so many people...
Destroy our economy.
One reason...
And of course, the economy is more important than breathing and living.
Look, Bill, wait.
Business is good. Who cares if we die? We got to take a break. All right. Tomorrow, Alan Thicke, Wendy Wasserstein, Miley Missahan. Look, I got that perfectly from Eden's Crush and Randy Tate. And